The night was thick with music and laughter, until a sudden crack of sound silenced the crowd. Abeni's drumstick slammed against her skin drum, her eyes blazing as she pointed at her younger brother. "Stop him!" she shouted, her voice sharp enough to cut through the rhythm. Taye froze mid-song, his melody hanging in the air like a broken promise. The villagers gasped, their joy collapsing into whispers. Mr. Okoro, the producer who had promised to take Taye to Lagos, stepped forward. Confusion etched across his face. "What is this?" he demanded. Abeni's voice trembled with fury. "His voice is cursed by the river goddess. Anyone who listens will suffer misfortune." The crowd recoiled, fear spreading like wildfire. Mr. Okoro's eyes darted between the siblings. "Is this true?" he asked, his voice heavy with doubt. Taye's heart pounded. "No! Sister, why would you say this? My voice carries love, not curses. Please believe me." His words shook, but his eyes burned with pain. Abeni's lips curled into a bitter smile. "I saved you from ruin. You should thank me." The crowd dispersed, whispers echoing in the night. Mr. Okoro shook his head and walked away, leaving Taye kneeling in the dust, tears streaming down his face. "Why, Abeni? Why would you betray me?" But she turned her back, clutching her drum as if it were her crown. Days passed, and Taye's world crumbled. Villagers avoided him, whispering, "The cursed boy, keep away." He sang only to the river now, his voice trembling, carrying sorrow into the night. Ngozi, his closest friend, sat beside him. "Taye," she said softly, "leave her. She will never love your gift. Go your own way." He looked at her, eyes hollow. "She is my sister. How can I leave her behind?" Ngozi touched his hand, her voice trembling with hidden envy. "Because she has already left you." One evening, Taye stormed into their compound, his voice breaking. "Sister, retract your lie. Let me sing again." Abeni's eyes blazed. She slapped him, the sound echoing like thunder. "Only my drum will be heard in Lagos, not your cursed voice." Taye staggered back, clutching his cheek. His tears fell, but his voice rose in defiance. "You cannot silence me forever." He walked away, broken but determined. Abeni stood tall, her drum in hand, pride swelling. "Only my rhythm will echo in Lagos," she muttered, striking her sticks together. The crowd cheered her name, unaware that envy had already planted seeds of ruin. Viewers, if this story has already gripped your heart, don't forget to subscribe, comment, and like this video. Stay with us, because what comes next will shake you even deeper. The drums thundered in Lagos, lights flashing, crowds swaying. Abeni stood at the center, her stick striking with fury. "Do you hear me?" she shouted, sweat dripping, pride blazing. The audience roared, but in their eyes was hunger for something more. Meanwhile, across the city, Taye's voice poured from radios, clubs, and marketplaces. The river carries truth, the heart carries love. His song wrapped around people like a balm. Strangers wept, lovers embraced, children sang along. His name spread like fire. Abeni slammed her drum harder. "Why do they leave me? My rhythm is strong." But the hall was half empty, her fame fading. She clenched her fists, whispering, "It should have been me." Taye stood on a grand stage, lights bathing him in gold. The crowd erupted, chanting his name. He closed his eyes, tears slipping down his cheeks. This song is for those who were silenced, for those who were betrayed. His voice soared, breaking hearts and healing them at once. Backstage, Abeni watched, her drum silent. "Brother," she whispered, "I destroyed you, yet you shine brighter than I ever could." Her knees buckled, tears streaming. Days later, she stormed into his rehearsal, her voice breaking. "You think you are better than me? You think your voice is stronger than my drum? Taye turned, his eyes calm. No, sister, I think my voice is different, and together we could have been unstoppable. Her lips trembled. But I wanted the spotlight. I wanted the world to see me. And they did, he said softly, but envy made you blind. She dropped her drum, collapsing. I am nothing now. Taye knelt beside her, lifting her chin. You are my sister. That is something. But before she could answer, the rehearsal doors slammed shut, echoing like judgment. The sound reverberated through the hall, leaving them frozen in silence. Abeni's tears fell harder. Taye's hand lingered on her shoulder. The air was heavy, unresolved. The confrontation had cracked open their hearts, but forgiveness had not yet arrived. Viewers, if this story has already gripped your heart, don't forget to subscribe, comment, and like this video. Stay with us because the next chapter will reveal whether forgiveness can truly heal betrayal. The next concert was packed, the crowd roaring with anticipation. Taye raised his hand, his voice steady but trembling with emotion. Tonight, I sing not alone. Tonight, I sing for forgiveness. The audience hushed instantly. Abeni stepped onto the stage, her drum silent in her hands. She bowed her head, tears falling, the weight of envy pressing down. The crowd gasped, holding their breath. Taye began to sing, his voice wrapping around her like a blanket. Each note carried love, sorrow, and hope. Abeni stood still, listening, her drum untouched. The crowd erupted, not for her rhythm, but for her silence. Later that night, Abeni wandered through Lagos streets. Posters of Taye glowed from walls, his songs spilling from radios and cafes. Couples danced, children sang. She covered her ears, whispering, "Why can't I escape him?" Her manager approached. "Abeni, your shows are empty. People want Taye. They say your drum is hollow." She shoved him away, voice breaking. "I am still Abeni. My rhythm is fire." But inside her heart shattered. By the river, Elder Bamidele sat with Taye. He said, "See, boy, envy is a sickness, but you chose love. That is why the river blessed you." Taye nodded, tears in his eyes. "I only wanted to sing. I never wanted to destroy her." Bamidele placed a hand on his shoulder. "Then let your song heal her too." The villagers whispered as Abeni returned home, her drum untouched. She was once great, but envy silenced her drum. She sat by the river, listening to Taye's songs carried on the wind. "Aishe," she murmured. "This drum once spoke with pride. Now it is silent, and in its silence it teaches me humility." Days later, Taye returned to the village. Children ran to him singing his songs. "The boy, once silent, has become our pride," the villagers said. He sang by the river, his voice rising with the wind. "Sing with me, sister," he said softly. Abeni shook her head, placing her drum gently on the ground. "No, today I will only listen." And so, the silent drum remained silent, but in its silence, it spoke louder than ever before. Viewers, if this story touched your heart, don't forget to subscribe, comment, and like this video. Share it with someone who needs to hear that envy destroys, but love restores.